and go straight into the panel session. So whilst Lucy asks all of the panel attendees to join us on the virtual stage, we will just gather up our questions. If you do have any other questions, please do submit them through the Q&A form, which is on the right of the screen. Hi, Miranda. So we'll just wait for Paddy, David, Seb, hi Seb, and I believe Jonathan may still be here. May have had to. Oh, Jonathan's still here. Good, thank you. And we won't. If you need to leave for your students, Jonathan, please do head off. Great, thank you all firstly, thank you all for your presentations. Thank you for bearing with us during the technical issues. And thanks for your involvement in this panel session. So just to start off, there's a whole host of questions that we could ask. We've heard about digital twins, touched on common data environments in some of the presentations. So if you look at digital twins, spatial data infrastructures, common data environments, and what of all of these concepts and applications, what's the most important for you now within your roles or within your industry? And that's an open question for anybody. I don't know if anybody wants to pick that up.
I guess it's difficult to say one is more important than the other because of the interconnection we're trying to get going around everything. If I kind of give my example, is I didn't know what GIS was 3.5 years ago when I came onto this project, and I've learned an awful lot on the things we've got going now between the platform. We've got other database that hold things such as our land access data, our asset data, bringing all that together. We're nearly into the place where we're linking that to the CAD models as well. That's what it's all about. And as Miranda said, a lot, the more you can connect these things together, the more benefit we seem to get.
Interesting, yeah. So yeah, and that's an interesting. As you say, you came from that engineering space. There's that, there's that natural divide that has happened over time between CAD and GIS, but that's not the only islands or silos of data that are out there. There's many different professions, many sets of expertise. So I think that ties in with the Miranda's message, and we heard it from some people, the sort of the idea of the systems and interconnecting those to derive values. I mean, Miranda, how does that play within your Centre of Digital Built Britain?
So I think, speaking at spatial events, it's always tempting to think that the map is the answer to everything, and if you unite it through the power of map, all will be well. I use the Tadcaster Bridge example because it's extremely easy to explain visually. It would be much harder if we were talking about Grenfell, where we need to integrate data along a supply chain. And so I think the thing to bear in mind is always the use case is key. What are you integrating for? The thing often with spatial integration is that you can hit a number of use cases relatively quickly. But it's not the only one. Some people will want a logic circuit diagram, and the spatial will be quite low down on their list of requirements. So rigorous focusing on the use case is always the answer.
Okay, on the why do we have? Thank you, Miranda. A couple of you touched on this. This is the classic. Going back into the sort of GIS BIM integration, I mean, where do you see the role of GIS and BIM data integration in that journey towards a kind of wider digital twin system of systems? Do you see that as being the main data integration to tackle first, or do you see there are other sort of systems or pools of data which are more important to integrate? And maybe take this in the context of a construction supply chain.
For me, they're kind of both important. Again, it depends what the way that we look at it here is that if you're wanting to work to a great deal of detail on a small scale, CAD is a far better system. But if you're looking to work to a large scale, but to a lesser level of detail, that's where GIS really works. And that's why it works on something like HS2 and Avonworks North,